'Twas the night before Thanksgiving, and all through Green Bay, this little cheesehead has been feeling thankful all day. Welcome to another episode of Lombardi Time Brews. Yes, it is the night before Thanksgiving. Some of you may see this on Thanksgiving. Some of you may see it Friday. Some of you may not see it at all. And don't worry, it's a holiday. I won't be offended. But tonight is the night before Thanksgiving. So I decided the theme of today's video is even amongst a losing season, what is becoming perilously close to a lost season in terms of the pursuit of Lombardi, there's still things to be thankful for. We as Packer fans are in a very unique situation, as is widely talked about, much to the chagrin of every other team. But today we're going to talk about it a little bit. I have 6 different reasons as to why we should still be thankful as Packer fans. Many of them don't even relate to the team itself this year. If you want those team updates about what's going on with the team right now, I'm going to get to that first. I'm going to talk about the injury report that came out today. I'm going to talk about the roster moves that were made today, because there were a few of them. So ultimately, day before Thanksgiving, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I spent the last few weeks getting all dismayed about this season, being really frustrated with the choices of the coaching staff. But this week, it's different. And I think it's part acceptance that this is the team, that this is what it's going to be this year. I think it's choosing to have a positive outlook. But you know what? Packers could still win out. Yeah, as I said on Monday, there's about a 6% chance per most metrics that they could make the playoffs. They still could do it. But, you know, maybe there's some fun things like I detailed on Monday. The fun things that could yet be occurring yet this season, be it the rookie wide receivers actually playing together. You know, on that note, Rob Demovsky of ESPN put out a tweet earlier today saying that Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs have only shared the field for a total of 53 snaps. Not even the offensive snaps of one complete game have the second and fourth round wide receivers been together on the field. So hopefully in due time we do see that. LaFleur was asked about Doubs today in his press conference, and I frankly didn't really say much, just going to see how Romeo progresses. He did not practice again today, which I'll be getting to shortly. So, you know, there's still fun things to look ahead for, but on the whole, there are many things to be thankful. If you are a fan of the Green Bay Packers, many, many things to be thankful for, and we are going to be talking about that today. So, just a few scheduling notes. One, yes, on Friday, I will... Well, that's what I'm getting to. I will be putting out a game preview for Packers versus Eagles for Sunday Night Football. Given the fact that it's a holiday, I do have a number of family functions coming up over the next 2 days. That one may go out either later Friday night. It may not get published until Saturday morning, so just a scheduling update if you're looking ahead to that. Also, just one other note about the channel. We are over 250 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you for coming along on this journey, even if it's only temporary. If you just hit it for a week because you feel bad for me, I'll take it. I'm not beyond that. So, but for those of you who have been here all along with the nicknames and Dom DeLuise Jr., thanks for that, Prime, and all the other things along the way as we have ventured through the 2022 Packer season, thank you. Thank you. Here's looking ahead to many, many more episodes, interactions, hopefully in the future some live shows and questions, and I'm really just looking forward to what this can become. So let's dive in. Well, number one, a blast from the past, if you will. Geronimo Allison worked out for the Packers yesterday, and they have not signed him. There has been no action on that. He's just a street free agent at this point, but why? I mean, I guess, like, bring in a veteran that Rodgers has some experience with, right? I mean, like, but why? Is he remarkably more talented than any other receiver out there? Is receiver even our biggest need right now? I do your due diligence 365 days a year. That's what Brian Gutekunst says, right? But like Geronimo, I mean, maybe he's got some left in the tank. Maybe he's still not that old. Okay, cool. Why not? Do your due diligence. Whatever. Caleb Jones, the offensive tackle, that mountain of a man. He has been for nearly 2 months now on the NFI list. That's the non-football injury or illness list. Nearly 2 months, but he has been activated back. He's not yet put on the 53, but they have opened his practice window. So he was back at practice today. Nothing was ever really talked that much about why he disappeared from the team for almost 2 months. But regardless, he is now back. They have, I believe it's the same rules as IR. I think it's 3 weeks that they have to really work him in and activate him to the 53. Number 3, the Packers did make an addition today, claiming edge linebacker Justin Hollins from the Los Angeles Rams. He was part of the release of Darnell Henderson and himself. With whatever is going on with the Rams roster over there, because you want to talk about another mess. Woo-wee. But they brought him in, and this is a guy who's played in 49 career games. He was originally a 5th-round pick in 2019 for the Denver Broncos. He's got 6 total tackles for loss on his career, 7 sacks in his career. For a team that's perilously thin at outside linebacker on the roster, I mean, really, you just have Garvin, you've got Preston Smith, and you've got your rookie Kingsley Enagbare. There's nothing really bad about this. This is a guy with some experience. He's played for the Rams. He's played for the Broncos on a more brief nature. I don't see this being a bad addition. It's a waiver claim. Packers, for once, are near the top of the waiver claim, so they are exercising that right, bringing in Jonathan Abram, bringing in Hounds. So there's really no downside. You needed bodies at edge. Ladarius Hamilton, I don't think they've been thrilled with what they've gotten from him when they've elevated him from the practice squad. Tipa has had his injury problems this year. So I don't see a big issue here. I do hope that this doesn't stunt the wrinkle that they put in the defense at times of having Quay Walker at edge. I do continue to want to see Quay Walker get some of those edge snaps, but obviously that's a lot easier to do when Devondre Campbell is healthy. So is what it is, but he is now a Green Bay Packer, is Justin Hollins, and we'll see what we get from it, right? No harm in doing so. The resulting roster move was Patrick Taylor has been released. You got to think that they're going to try to bring Patrick Taylor back on the practice squad, but again, the Packers are down to only 2 running backs again. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. There are no other active running backs on the roster since they cut Kylan Hill. Now they've cut Patrick Taylor. So what are we going to see? I mean, maybe it's Tyler Goodson season. Maybe they're going to elevate him for a game. With how big running back in this offense, I was talking about this all offseason, going into training camp with the roster construction. 2 running backs for this team is not a viable option. There's too many games left on the schedule for you just to elevate Goodson every time. I don't know. This feels unresolved. But one thing I can say for certain is that for the rest of the year, they're not just going to be riding 2 running backs. I just don't see it. So let's get into the injury report of the day, and y'all, it is lengthy. The Philadelphia Eagles have 1 player on their injury report. It's a backup. Let me just read the Green Bay Packers injury report here. Quay Walker was a full participant. Jair Alexander was a full participant, as was Mason Crosby with a full participant. Now, Mason Crosby is one of 5 Packers on the list who had their practice affected somehow due to an illness. There's a bug going around the locker room. Certainly less than ideal. But Mason Crosby was a full participant. Now getting into the guys who logged limited practices. That would be Aaron Rodgers, Alan Lazard, Chris Barnes, Randall Cobb, another illness guy. Shamar Jean-Charles was back in a limited capacity, and then Aaron Jones, limited as well. Now here are the do-not practices, and whoo, buddy, there's talent on this list. David Bakhtiari, now this was just a rest day for his knee. Same with Elton Jenkins, rest day for his knee. He was a do-not practice. Devondre Campbell, still not practicing from that knee injury. Tariq Carpenter was another one of the illness bunch. Romeo Dobbs, obviously not practicing yet. Rudy Ford, another of the illness bunch. And then Rasheed Walker. Rasheed Walker being the final of the illness bunch. I mean, that is a list, y'all. So we've been talking about this. This Packer team is banged up, and Matt LaFleur talked about whether it was the right choice to not take that bye after the London game. Who knows if it would have affected anything? No one could possibly know that. But woo, this is a list. This team is banged up, and they're getting ready to go against, right now, the number 1 seed in the NFC. But you know what? In spite of all of the injuries, in spite of all of the problems, there is reason this Thanksgiving to be thankful to be a Green Bay Packer fan. Now, not all of this list, not all of the 6 things that I'm going to say are specific just to the Green Bay Packers. Part of them are just why we love sports in the first place. Or we're supposed to, anyway, right? So keep that in mind as I go through this list. Not all of them are Packer specific, but number 1, the absolute joy that comes with sports. Now, this season, look, the Packers are 4-7. This has not exactly been an enjoyable experience. I have joked about that this was absolutely the wrong year to start a Packer podcast. Yeah, but there's something really cool about knowing every Sunday that you can gather with family, friends, loved ones, and for 3 hours, 3.5 sometimes, you can all just be together rooting for one thing. And I think that's part of it. It brings you joy, and if it doesn't bring you joy, then maybe this isn't the hobby for you. I mean, I hate to say it. I'm not going to tell you how to be a fan of the Packers, but like, if watching football brings you no joy whatsoever, and you know what? It's there every Sunday for a good chunk of the calendar. It's there. You can enjoy it. You can bank on it. And the Sundays, like this last Sunday where they had a mini bye because of the Thursday night game, are coming up their actual bye. Part of it, yeah, is going to be refreshing because you don't have to go through that stress. But the other part is the Sundays just feel a little empty, don't they? Number 2, the history. The history. If you've never been to Lambeau Field, walking through the Packer Hall of Fame, now I appreciate Packer history, I will admit, and I don't mean this to be boastful in any way, shape, or form, I'm just saying, but I do appreciate Packer history, I would say, more than most of the average contingent. And that's not, trust me, that's not a boast. But the Packer Hall of Fame is special. It's really special. All of the stuff of the years, as a memorabilia addict, how incredible is that? But it relates to some of the ones that I'm going to get here in just a minute. But like, the Green Bay Packers are our team. If you root for the Packers, they truly are our team. And to walk through the Hall of Fame is something special. And I'm gonna tie it right in here to what was going to be my last point, but I'm gonna divert a little, and it's the legacy of the Packers. Look, I mean, how many people here watching this little startup channel right now are fans of the Green Bay Packers because their dad was, because their grandpa was, because their uncle was, because their mom was? How many of us have those memories of sitting on a couch as a little kid, not quite understanding why our older family members were so stressed about the stupid little thing? And then we became that. Because I know being a Packer fan was a big part of my childhood, and I'm willing to bet it is for so many others. I mean, I went to a tiny, tiny, tiny little school in Wisconsin, where the average class size was like 15 kids per class. And I was 8 years old or so when the Packers won Super Bowl 31. And I remember everyone in the room. It was a Packer day in this tiny little school, and yeah, I'll be damned if not every single kid showed up in a Packer jersey. Or I remember years ago just driving through my city after the Packers had won a playoff game, and some business, I believe, because this was in a very business area, it wasn't residential, started firing green and gold fireworks over the top of the road. You just don't see it everywhere. And there are certainly other teams that do this kind of thing, but it's the legacy for us. We've been doing this for 100 freaking years. It is a part of Wisconsin. It's a part of who we are. And that's really cool. Isn't it? And if it's not a part of who you are because you're part of some legacy, something about the Green Bay Packers turned you onto them. Maybe you're just part of the collective that just happens to love Aaron Rodgers. Yes, there are lots of them. We see him every day on Twitter. But something, right? Something had to turn you on to the team with the fans that wear the stupid foam cheese on their heads and green and gold jerseys that have only undergone subtle changes for eternity. The uniforms of the Packers have only undergone subtle changes for longer than most other franchises have been around. It's insane. And I'm going to tie that right into the next thing, which is the stock. And this one is exclusive to the Green Bay Packers. The season ticket waiting list. I mean, that the scale of which is unique to the Green Bay Packers. Yes, as many of you know, I have a little 2-year-old son. And yes, he is a stock owner. And yes, he is on the season ticket waiting list. For both regular tickets and club level tickets. If you didn't know that that's different, sign up for club level tickets too. That list is way shorter. I don't know how in the hell we're going to pay for him when the name comes up, but he's there. It continues on the legacy, but also just the stock, the season ticket waiting list. This is our team. If you root for the Green Bay Packers, this is our team. And I know there are tons of fans of other teams in the NFL, and I'm sure I'm going to get some comments just complaining about it, that it's just a piece of paper. You gave a multi-billion-dollar company $250 so you could have a piece of paper with your name on it. Yeah, I did. Because unlike several other teams, we don't have a billionaire owner who, if he wants to make an improvement to the stadium, is just going to write a check. Or, I know the Packers have done this in their history, but because of the stock sale, they haven't had to do it as often, have public referendums that dedicate tax dollars to it, because we have enough fans that are willing to openly contribute money to not affect tax dollars to improve the stadium. If you want to call it a donation, I don't care. But we do that. You can hearken it all the way back to the Hungry Five. Now, Cliff Christel, the Packers historian, has disputed who should be a part of that Hungry Five if it really was like this, but there are myths about the Green Bay Packers going all the way back from 1919, 1920, 1921, and the Great Depression, of people being at Packer games, just taking off their hat, walking through the crowd, and asking for any loose change. Any dollar you can spare to keep this team going. How do you not love that? This wasn't started, the Green Bay Packers weren't started because someone wanted a new business venture. The Green Bay Packers weren't started because they looked at a market and said, well, these people are football fans, there should be football here. No, it was started by a group of guys who just collectively wanted to get together and play football. And then other people loved it. So they quite literally took the hats off of their heads and passed them down the row. It seems stupid to so many other franchises to say that the stock is actual ownership of a team. Of course it's not. I'm not getting a check. But you know what? Like my ancestors before me, just a few generations ago, like so many of us, like so many of our families were there and threw $1 into the hat to make sure that this little thing, this little team in little tiny Green Bay, going up against Chicago and New York and all of these other places that were massive, that this could be the team to keep going. And to contribute $250 to a stock sale is the modern day version of that. This is our team. There's no question about it. And don't let anyone ever tell you different. And I am thankful to have a team. I got two more. I'm going to touch on them quickly. One. Sorry, Vikings fans, this one's a shot at you. We had championships. I mean, that's pretty neat, right? We've had a lot of losses this year. We've had a lot of wins over the last decade. Sometimes, I don't necessarily love the entitled town thing that goes around a lot. But you know what? We have had a lot of wins. Yeah, 2 Super Bowls with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to be upset about it. Of course I want them to win more Super Bowls. Who doesn't? But 2 Super Bowls. And we got 4. And they're proudly displayed in Lambeau Field for anyone to go see. Not many other teams can claim that they have 4. Or how about the World Championship count? Certainly not many other teams can claim that. And yes, they count. Last thing, in past years, before I had this show, before I had anything else, there have certainly been times that I have derided the Packers for taking for granted their season ticket list, the built-in fandom of Wisconsin. None of any of these things that I'm talking about being thankful for. There have been times where they've taken that for granted. I do believe that. But you know what? This team, current iteration, current generation, last 10 years, last 20, have done so many ventures in the community. I mean, look, take the Salvation Army signings as one great example. If you don't know about those, basically going on right now for 4 Monday nights. This is the first time they brought it back since COVID, but for 4 Monday nights, somewhere around Thanksgiving through Christmas, they have different players sit in the Lambeau Atrium for 2 hours every Monday night and sign stuff. And you have to give a donation to the Salvation Army. And then at the end of the 4 weeks, the last few years, it's been Aaron Rodgers. But, there's been different versions of someone matches that whole total, but themselves. That's really cool. You look at Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know how active he is anymore. I haven't seen any headlines of late, but earlier in his career was such a big deal for the Mac Fund or Make-A-Wish. I'm thankful that the Packer way is still a thing. And to borrow the phrase from Cheesehead TV, to carry the G is a thing. I'm glad that character is a part of the personnel evaluation of the Green Bay Packers. Because when you put on that Packer jersey, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing all of those people 100 years ago who threw $1 into a hat. Even in the midst of a 4-7 season, I am thankful to be a fan of the Green Bay Packers. I really hope you are too. Well, if you are still here, thank you. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow. Whether or not you are seeing loved ones, spending the day by yourself, spending the day with family, I hope it is whatever you need. I hope that even if your times aren't great right now, you still find something to be thankful for. Because I know it's hard. We all do, sometimes. But I hope you have an absolutely beautiful Thanksgiving that is exactly what you need. If you are spending it with loved ones and family, enjoy it, cherish it. And then we can get back here on Friday. But thanks for being here. Let me know down in the comments down below if you are still here, what you are thankful for as a Packer fan. If it's disrespectful, if it's stupid, yeah, I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm going to make no bones about it. I want this to be nice. So comment below what you're thankful for to be a Packer fan. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And as always, go Pack Go.